Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of the WTRL TTT number 104. We're out on Sand and Sequoias today. Nathan Garrett, Dave Towle next to me. Dave, we are covering the MOCHAs today, and we were on a very flat into a little bit of a bumpy and then flat again for 2 laps. It's got a little bit of everything on this course, and for me, that this kind of course, it tests the riders in everything you need in TTT, in time trialing out on Zwift. I think I personally really like it. I like it that you're on a longer course and that you kind of get into the groove of what it is for these flatter sections and how to take them on, as well as how to be really good about climbing out there together as a unit.
Yeah, I would call this one the whole enchilada, and it's just enough, not too much, right? There's today, you're looking at around 340 meters of climbing, over 43K. It's going to be a long day in the saddle, no doubt about that. But it's going to be a steady, pacing yourself out here today, not going out too aggressively. I know a lot of times I talk about, you just got to put the accelerator down the floorboard. Not today. Today's going to be a little bit different, and I think that's going to be fun. This is a solid course to race on, Nathan. You're right. This is one of the places as well, Sand and Sequoias, that almost everybody, when they get into Zwift, I'm going to think that this is one of your favorite first routes, is then probably as you start to expand your horizons out there, you move on. But for a lot of people, this is a touchstone course to race on and ride on Zwift.
Yeah, it definitely is. I really, really enjoyed. This is one of my favorites by far. Let's go ahead though, real quickly. Let's jump into, before we jump down into the racing, we do have the MOCHAs today, with the men jumping out on course. They jumped out about 10 minutes ago or so, and we'll start getting splits in just a moment, as well as the women heading out in about 20 minutes from now. But we do have our poster competition, as we do every single week. Always lots of fun. Dave's selection, going with a little bit of Clint Eastwood, it looks like here, Dave.
Yeah, it was kind of a no-brainer for me. I just felt like it certainly fits. Like, this is just right outside of Fuego Flats, right? You're looking at it's dusty. This all makes sense. That Clint Eastwood vibe. I was thinking a fistful of Watts might not be a bad name for a poster as well. But TFC Hawk always bring their A game. So great job again, guys. Congratulations. You got my vote, at least.
Yeah, Martin went ahead with the Crush Pod specifically because of the little addition of Jarvis the Bear chasing the honey out there. And that's and he actually pointed out there's a little beehive on the back of the final bike there. Crush Pod and Crush Pod 2 both had a very similar poster as with Jarvis on the chase. Loving that. Very great. And then if you didn't know, if you haven't been out on the San Sequoias loop before, you haven't noticed, Jarvis does hang out specifically on that course on the left-hand side, always falling out of a tree. Yeah, we'll see him out there, and he'll be chasing after that beehive that's up the top of the tree, actually. So I wanted to highlight the fact that Dirty Chronicle, look at this. 47, wow. From what I'm told, 47 teams total from Dirt in the TTT today. And I just wanted to highlight, this is, a lot of times it is based on the artwork or how cool, how the funny innuendo here or there, whatever it might be. But this is really speaks to the community that's built around the TTT and the teams. That is a lot of teams across the world. A lot of dads inside riding trainers across the world, as well as moms inside riding trainers, most likely too. I'm absolutely loving this. This is pretty amazing on the menu here with the Dirt Effect. And just want to give them a shout out, big shout out, and kudos to them with how much they do to stay organized and bring one of the largest teams out on Zwift. Now, just as a heads up, as far as what we're covering out here today, as you can see, it is going to be the Vienna without Vienna MOCHA, or Vienna as it's called by WTRL solo, and then the MOCHAs for the women. I need to actually switch those 2 names there, it looks like, as the women are actually hanging out in the pens and the Vienna are on the other side. But men are out on course here. Let's go ahead and jump on in with them, as we do have Cryogen, as you can see, hammering away on their way on over toward the Titans Grove as they're going to be leaving the Fuego Flats. The course today out there is up front, Fuego Flats into Titans Grove. Sand and Sequoias is the total of it, but the two courses that are used that merge together are the flatter sections of the new desert that was launched in the last years, one of the latest expansions out here. And then on over into Titans Grove, a little bit hillier, some old school dinosaurs, a little bit prehistoric out there, Dave.
Yeah, I always really enjoy seeing the dinosaurs for some reason. I'm assuming that's a Tyrannosaurus, or excuse me. Yeah. Well, anyways, I'm not going to get into my dinosaur knowledge, but I think that's one of the coolest Easter eggs out there. Nathan, I wanted to go back quickly to CrushPod. Had a chance to hear from the team this last week and wanted to thank them first for reaching out. And that is a really cool group of women. Just as you were saying with the dirt dads inside riding trainers, well, CrushPod is somewhat similar in that they would go on these huge group rides on Zwift, and then the pod element came out of a selection of women that wanted to do this racing. And it really all triggered with a couple riders that said, hey, WTRL looks really cool. They investigated it. It is really cool. And ultimately, they have made the most out of it. And I got to give Martin credit, too, for attention to detail. I think that when you realize that there's some people that just have that amazing ability, and that's part of what has helped build WTRL to the level that we have and allow teams like Cryogen to really get out here and enjoy this. I mean, this is awesome. This team here, as we're in with Cryogen, has also created a nation. There's hundreds and hundreds of Cryogen riders. So I'm making sure that I'm in with the bees right now and there we go, with our MOCHAs, I mean to say. And that's Robert Sharp that we're following here. This team also has Thomas Gerdal, Steve PJ, Mark Preston, Mark Heady. We have Annette out racing with the guys, I believe. Irish woman, Annette Visagi. Excuse me, Annaline Visagi and Annette Kent. I apologize there, Nathan. But I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we have a couple women jumping in with the guys in this mixed team here, and that's awesome.
We're actually getting a little bit of wave coming on through as well from one of the riders. Not sure if that was waving at the broadcast or letting everybody know that he's coming on through for his poll, but yeah, definitely mixed team, and always loving to see that out here in the mixed category as Visagi is making her way to the front, looking to hold on to Healy's wheel now, 144 beats per minute. A little bit off. As far as the fashion police here go, Anna would be having a little bit of a nightmare as a little bit off on the Cryogen. Snow Geese is, keeping it all. But maybe he's maybe the team leader or something along those lines. But it does look like a little bit off on the
goalie.
There goes.
Right?
Yeah.
You know how the goalie wears a different jersey? Right. So they're going to go into a soccer game right after the race. So they wanted to be prepared. So Snow Geese, Nathan, that's the first time that I've seen this team out here, or at least first time that I've been aware that we've been able to jump in with them, and this is really cool to see. They've got a nice squad here making their way through. What Titans Grove is, it just feels so flowy to me when I ride there. I don't think there's a place where, I'm trying to get my Tron bike, right? I'm about halfway there. I think the easiest meters of climbing that I can find is in Titans Grove. When you start swooping up and down, it's almost like you're on a roller coaster. I love that feeling. I love this world.
If you're following my feed at all, Titans Grove is my go-to lately. It's all I ever ride in the last, I either am racing or doing some sort of like major event, or I'm jumping out. So you don't
choose. You're going to where the race is.
Yeah, I'm going to wherever the race is, so I'm not choosing the course, right, or whatever the event might be. Or I'm on Sand and Sequoias. That's it. Like lately, it's just been. It was for a while. It was TikTok, where you go through Fuego Flats and then leave Fuego Flats up the Part Ocean Boulevard and come back over to Fuego Flats. But I found that to just not really press force me personally to do any kind of work. But if you find somewhere else, though, you might get a little bit too much pressure on the pedals. But this is kind of this perfect undulating, just right. Get a little bit of pressure back on the pedals. At the same time, I'm not forced to work, work extremely hard. If I am doing intervals, I guess I should say the other day I do use Watopia Mountain for a lot of my intervals to get a lot of force out there. But this is kind of my go-to for my easy or base type rides because it does force you to stand up, get a little bit of a groove, and then back into that steady cadence, sit down.
Yeah.
Love this course for that.
Yeah, they were just
on
on a 7%
though.
grade for a moment.
3 riders off the back.
They hit that grade there, that 7%, Nathan, and a couple riders pressed, and it's going to come right back. They'll weld this right back together. But, another thing that I like is just this vibe right here. That you feel like you're almost outside Northern California or, Olympia in Washington State with the kind of a rainforest vibe. We talked about the dinosaurs. Now, I want to talk about the racing here. Let's get this gap closed up, guys. Again, I don't like to put too much pressure on the people behind trying to close the gap because there's a burden of responsibility on both sides here now, where if we can get the riders on the front to ease, and they've done it perfectly here. That's how you do it. Just ease up a little on the front. If you could push a little harder back there, that would be great because we've got a long way to go. 43 kilometers of racing today. Actually, I think on the odometer, it doesn't quite get to 43 clicks. It's going to be something around 42.7, something like that. We'll see. But with 338 meters of climbing, as Nathan perfectly illustrated for us, it's not an insane amount of climbing, but it's just enough to keep you honest out here. And when you look at TikTok or riding around there, that's great. But you know what? I'll take dinosaurs over a train any day. There's one.
Yeah, there we go. And that is most likely a Brontosaurus. I wouldn't.
That's what I
would say
think.
You're incorrect, but there are a lot of different dinosaurs that look like a Brontosaurus. And I think that might be speaking to our age a little bit too, because back in the day, the long necks they were only the Brontosauruses. When I learned about them, right? Exactly. Yep. And then all of all the kids now, or the younger generation here coming through, there's
Park,
50 different long necks now that they all know the names of too. So
that proves that you're a dad, Nathan. I didn't even know the term long neck until you just said it. So
that's from a cartoon from when I was younger, actually. What was the name? Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm losing it.
How to Raise a Dinosaur?
I'm getting no. It was like the Dinosaur Kids animation movie, and now I can't believe that it was like a movie made around. It was a movie made around like the one of the extinctions, essentially. So.
Oh no.
And they all had their own personalities. And it was all the little kids and what their experience was, but they were dinosaur kids. Anyways, we're going off on a serious bunny trail with these dinosaurs right now. But Howell, Davies, Jason, Chappelle, Fuchs, and it's going to be Byrne all hammering away. And I believe this is going to be a Vikings team because the TV is in the name. We'll see how things are playing.
It is. It's Valhalla, I believe, that you've got with Howell, Fuchs, Chappelle, Jason, Niall Byrne, Steve Small, and Tony Davies. There is an American on this team, an American, an Irish person. It looks like the United Kingdom represented a couple of times. Germany.
Let's see if we can get some more information on these guys. They are usually using that Tour of California, Amgen Tour of California kit. That is the go-to for this team. Only reason I really knew that it was also because of the TV in the name here from the Irishman. Beard, 143 beats per minute. Does look like things are pretty chill at the back end of this pack right now, but they're about to get into some of the business end, as you'd say, Dave, of this race, because I think the climb is really going to separate the wheat from the chaff here amongst the riders out here in the MOCHAs.
Agreed. So just to, we run this race every week. WTRL runs this race every week. We're into the 104th consecutive week of racing, and it has really grown. Now, we're sort of settling into our summertime rhythm now, but typically you'll see 5,000-6,000 racers taking place racing throughout 14 different time zones. This is the Platinum Leagues, our top teams after their racing last week based on, it didn't matter what zone you were racing out of. We combine them all together and take the top teams and bring them or invite them into Platinum League. So for some of the teams, it's not a convenient time to race at this moment, and they decline the invitation. But for some teams, getting into Platinum League is what they live for. They absolutely focus on this, and this is a level, Nathan, that we see some really great competitions. These teams know each other well. They race their hearts out. They have a tremendous amount of respect for the teams that they're racing against. I can't tell you, Nathan, the last time I heard someone griping about passing, or, we really worked through all of sort of the etiquette, the unwritten rules and the written rules, to tell you the truth. And it's really nice to get to this point.
Really is. Let's take a quick look at the course here. This is what we are talking about when it comes to the San Sequoias. As you can see up front, where they start from over on the Fuego Flats, the little orange section of the course. Then they head on over toward Titans Grove. All the green there is the main climb. And then the downhill. And actually on the downhill section, look at that bump on the downhill. That's actually the steepest section of the course. There's that little puncher at the back end.
Right here is where they would have been filming the movie The Land Before Time.
Land Before Time. Thank you so much for jogging my. I can't believe I didn't remember that. And there's like seven. There's like 7 renditions of that. Like, it was such a popular.
Right.
They ended up doing like, I don't even know how many there are now. There's still Land Before Times, like, episodes and movies being released now. So obviously the dinosaur theme is where it's at with kiddos.
Yeah, we can thank one of our community members, Matthew Graham, for that. Thank you, Matthew. You saved.
Graham was probably smacking his forehead like, Nathan, really? Like, really, Nathan? You don't know the name of Land Before Time? What is happening here?
I feel like I missed that, to tell you the truth. So I'm going to have to do some research. So I guess I'm going to jump back in with some quick details, if you don't mind, Nathan. Little of the business here. We start with 8 riders for the teams, but not many teams, I'm going to guess, this week actually do start with 8, because you can start down a minimum of 4, and that number is super important because your time will be taken off of your 4th rider. So starting with any less than 4 really puts you in a gunfight with not even a knife, with a toothpick. You're not going to get a time. So coming with 8, though, on a long day of racing makes a huge difference. The riders have to be of an ability level to participate, though. It's not just filling the seats, is it, Nathan? You got to have athletes that can participate, or, I mean, just to be blunt about it, or you're going to get dropped. So it doesn't really do anyone much good for a rider to hang on and dig as deep as they can to draft their way through the middle part of the course. You really have to, these teams need to be at a certain level. And that's exactly what we're doing here. This MOCHA level, these riders, they're all within, a few percentage points of each other of ability. And that's what allows this team. Look at them now here, Valhalla. They look really good at this point as they're making the way up a 4% grade here, Nathan. Team sticking together quite nicely. That's Howell setting up a very nice tempo here. See what he's doing, Nathan? Isn't that nice? It's just fast enough that, sure, the riders are really bearing down, but he's not putting anyone out the back. Great job here.
Yeah, perfectly done on the tempo there, coming from Howell, making sure Chappelle not falling off the back. 169 needs to get back on terms here. Looks like he may be able to just do it as they do start to roll away. Nice little information here coming in from Tron Katel Samsat, saying that Team Valhalla is Vikings International sister club. Team names come from Norse mythology. Appreciate that very much, coming on in, and a little bit of background information about these teams. So as we do see the team names, they will be in our splits here as well, as we do see the splits working really well today. Good to see that WTRL is on top of some new tech. 1511 at the 10, it looks like, with the Rhinos. TFC Hurricane 1544. Cryogen Snow Geese, who we're looking at right off the bat, with the 1612. Z-Sun Nebula with the 1617. It's going to be our Sumatra Rhinos. We'll see if we can get the Valhallas in here as well. I have a feeling we're missing a couple, but we are getting the splits coming through pretty quickly. I think there a few are still going to be loading in for us as far as the teams that are out there.
I lived in Norway for a couple of years when I was a kid. My dad was a professor at University of Oslo, and I unfortunately, Nathan, everybody in Norway spoke English that we knew. So we never learned a word. My entire family never really learned any Norwegian, which I really regret because those are some of the most challenging names that we see out here. But also a nation that punches way above its weight on Zwift. If you look at percentage-wise, how many Norwegians are out here? I'm going to guess Norway is a country of 6, 7, 8 million people, maybe a little smaller than Sweden. But man, do we have a lot of talented Norwegian athletes. Let's take a look at the course records that we have using this. So 42.8 is the exact distance out here. No surprise, is it, to see Socks for Watts WRT? I'm going to say, with all due respect to the Choppers, and I see Sue, I race like a girl, this team here, men or women, has been the most dominant that we've seen in the 104-week history of the WTRL, Nathan. I don't know too many people would argue that if you've been following along. That 58:15, the time that they posted. So you can take a look here at all of the squads and the times that they have set. And
real quickly, we'll go right back to that, but we got to catch Jarvis, especially after
good
Crush
call.
Pod. And here we go.
Look on
the
your
left-hand
left.
side, everybody.
Yep.
And he looks like, you can even see the little nest up there. The Jarvis the
He's
bear.
on
If
the
you did
ground.
not know, and
Yep.
if you didn't know, that is a call out, and he's got the name on the tree as well. There, Jarvis, and that Jarvis is a shout out back to the original Zwift course that was in beta. It was just a small little 3-mile loop, went through a little Italian village, and then climbed through something that looked exactly like Titan's Grove. Actually, it didn't have the dinosaurs or anything like that. It did have a banjo player next to a large cabin, actually, on the left-hand side every time you went by it.
Sounds creepy.
Well, and also, and every time you went by, he was playing the same tune on a banjo. It was really actually great. And you always knew where you were on course when that came through. Although it was very difficult to get lost on the 3-mile loop. But it was a climb, and you didn't see terrain like this in Watopia with these redwoods and this kind of very Northern California, I would say, kind of feel, section of course. You didn't see that until this release, until this section of course was put back out. You saw a shout back to it a little bit when Ocean Boulevard was released, because you went through a very large redwood with the cutout. Yes, that was there. But when this came back, they put Jarvis the Bear out there, and there was definitely a little bit of design going in, shouting back to our original beta users in that whole course. But very cool to see what they brought back in with this Titan's Grove.
Boy, do they look good right now, Nathan. This is, help me out, but this is still Valhalla, correct?
We are still in with Valhalla. We're going to go back to the
Dragvandil
blokes, though. And as they're using the Technicolor, looks like they only got 3 riders, though, here. So, interesting. I wonder how many they started with. And I'm loving the 2 with the fashion going on in the back here, but the S-Works with the Zwift Zip here, not sure that's matching too well. Definitely selected maybe for speed, perhaps, or no, maybe just no Tron bike. But the double Tron on the front looking good.
Yeah, that Tron bike, for folks who are not initiated, is well earned. 50,000 meters of climbing is really how you punch your ticket to get that bike. You have to start the process, start the clock by Everesting on Zwift, but there's plenty of high-level riders who never started the clock, like your friend with the podcast, Simon. Is he going for the Tron bike yet?
I heard rumors that he may. I don't know. We probably won't hear about it until he gets it, right?
Do it sneakily.
All of a sudden he's like, oh yeah, look, it's here. It's like it never even happened. Rather than us being able to torture him with the question and whether or not he's gotten the trial or even started it. That, because we could really get him on that one. But all of a sudden it'd be like Simon suddenly has the Tron. It's like, oh, okay. And he's been training hard. From what I'm seeing, I believe he's on a coaching plan, and it's interesting. He's and with him doing that, I haven't been creeping on his Strava or activities. I wonder if we're going to suddenly see Simon on a whole bunch of climbing courses as he gets his training in.
Oh man, he shows up with a Tron bike, fit as a fiddle, just starts blowing people's doors off. That would be Simon Schofield that we're talking about, who is Nathan's colleague on the Zwiftcast, which is my favorite podcast. You learn so much. GP Llama as well. Shane is great. All three of you come from unique perspectives in the Zwift world and come together to make an absolutely awesome show. I'm not kidding, Nathan. It doesn't come out often enough is my only complaint. That's why I didn't give you 5 stars. I only gave you 4.5.
I don't give 5 stars.
Well, the problem is for Nathan, they film it or they record at like 2 a.m.
2 a.m.
in Wisconsin time.
It is 2 a.m. That's exactly right. It is always 2 a.m. Actually, when the time swapped, it got even later.
Worse?
Oh yeah, it's like even later.
Or yeah.
So,
Why
Nathan are jumping out on
so,
course here? Go ahead, Dave.
We talked about this. We talked about it yesterday. But with these 3 riders, they might not get an official time. I'm not sure how Martin will handle that. But I love the fact that they continue racing. So they're not going to be worried about being able to pin a result up on the board. What they're doing is saying, well, even if we only have 3 today, we can still get a simulated experience in, even if it's not going to count for the records, the annals. So this is what it looks like back in the pen. These pens we don't see all that often. The teams have all showed up. They've clocked in. They've made all the appropriate setups ready to go, and now they patiently wait. They've been given a start time. They should be communicating, most likely
Dave,
through Discord.
I want to ask. This is a great. Yeah, I love it that we're looking at the pens here and we can see like this is how they. I mean, there's patience and a lot of organization that goes into each one of these teams. They have a start time, like you said.
Yeah, it takes a
Have
lot
you
to get here.
experienced this? Have you experienced this, Dave?
I have not ever raced in a team time
come
trial.
on! Who's picking Dave up as the all-star? Who is picking Dave up as their all-star rider? Because Dave's been riding, from what I hear, at least 1 hour every single day from the beginning of this year. He's gotten a little bit of inspiration from Jarvis, it sounds like, and the bear chasing the honey. And I mean, come on, like we need somebody to pick Dave up, and we could even have. I'll have a guest commentator maybe, and then Dave will be on the Platinum League. I mean, this would be a lot of fun to happen here. Reach out. See, I'm putting Dave on the spot, forcing him into a TTT.
Well, stay tuned. I'm game. I might try to get on OJ Borg's team.
There we go.
Actually,
we could have a double header here. OJ and Dave on board for the TTT. That would be a really interesting. I mean, we would have OJ's like personality coming through with the wattage cottage. You know, Donnybrooks. It's all hands on deck. SS. You know what is? How does it? What is the?
I'd like to. Only the strong survive.
Only the strong, right? Yeah, an OSS situation. OSS situation here with Dave Towle.
What I want to know then, Nathan, is can I choose my teammates? Because one of the greatest things about being involved with Zwift is you get to meet all the best cyclists in the world, right? So I might reach out to Rowan Dennis and a few other guys. See if they. God.
Where's Dave? If we have Rowan Dennis, he's just gone off the front. Where did Dave go? Martin says that he might be jumping on this team as well. Oh man,
I'd take him all day long. I'll take any rugby player. If you that gets you on the team, you're certified gold standard. I love Martin. So, all right, Nathan, let's jump back in. So we're with the MOCHAs today in all of our coffee classes. Would you do me a favor, Nathan, and break it all down? So basically, MOCHAs are Bs, right? Not quite the highest
level. No, MOCHAs are actually D category. This is MOCHAs are. Yep. No, MOCHAs are actually within.
They're in the B pen.
They're in the B pen. Correct. They're in the B pen. Right. Yep. That's what the pen that they use. But they are for the categories that WTRL has set up. They are essentially a D level category for their FTP, for their functional threshold power. So they are going to be putting out up to about 2.5 watts per kilogram in that category for their functional threshold power. On the front, the most likely pulling, as you can see here for Spalding, pulling at about a 3.4 because you almost always are pulling over threshold when you're on the front. Essentially, a TTT is an over-under workout. That's what you're doing, right?
100%.
Over threshold and then right under and then over again.
Absolutely. And so Nathan, we've never quite put it exactly that way, and that is perfect. I would say that the stronger riders, then that ratio changes, right? You're going to spend, significantly more time above threshold. Yeah, it gets very complicated when you look at it, but the stronger riders are going to spend a lot more time on the front and less time recovering back in the draft, is a good way to put it.
100% looking through here. It looks like Team Rave were the first ones to go out in the Vienna MOCHA. Hammering away. German rider Christoph here, as well as Murphy Farmas heading to the front. Nordine actually on the front here for Team Rave. I'm loving this name, and the kit that they picked up with Free Speed kind of gives you that, Euro Club feel almost, kit. Right? You kind of feel like you're going to a dance party with Team Rave with the name in there. See Euro. Sure. It says Rave. See Euro in the name. I mean, this is loving it. Now this is a guest maybe Nordine hammering away here out of the US of A. The rest of them are European.
We should be playing some techno in the background here, or actually, I guess it's house music, maybe more, or EDM, right?
We might be able to do that. Whenever Team Rave is on, we'll just throw in some.
Look
EDM.
At this. They're rolling it mob style here. And now this is a good point to make as well. As the racing becomes more sophisticated for the teams, you'll see them in a formation more. But for a team that's just getting going, like let's say we're in our first 5 times racing WTRL, this is really where you start, isn't it? Just kind of keeping the blob together, stronger riders to the front, longer, harder pulls. Those of you that are having a little trouble, just tuck in here. And as time goes on, you start to work out the finer points, the details of how you get faster and faster. And it's those gains that you get. It is so much fun, Nathan, when you feel the improvement with your team. Here's a great analogy. When you're on a sailboat, right? Somebody who really knows how to set the sails, all of a sudden you feel yourself pick up speed. And that is one of the greatest feelings in the human experience, is that feeling of elation, like we're doing something right. There's the music.
We're in with Team Rave.
Absolutely.
Hammering away. Nordine on the front. Tanner now. Murphy, 3.7, 153 beats per minute right now. We'll see what kind of splits start coming in here. But Rave, bring in the party. Absolutely loving it here, Dave. Just for you, buddy.
Some kid wearing a glow stick just walked by me.
Oh man, bring the glow. It does look like glow sticks on the back of their jerseys too. So
there's the train I was talking about. You can hear it. I don't know if I've never heard a name for the train before. I always feel like I'm in Death Valley when I'm here. There's some similarities to actual Death Valley, California.
Well, that's the feeling you get in this valley.
100%. I mean, absolutely.
The TTT.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get some splits in here for these ladies in a little bit, but we actually don't have them until the 10K mark. And Team Rave were the first ones to head out on course, so we'll be jumping back in with the mixed teams here. And as the times start to come in for the ladies, though, we will let you know. Team Rave, thanks for taking us to the dance party, but let's jump back in with the mixed team, and we'll be back in with you in just a few moments. Back in with the mixed teams, though, men/mixed teams. This is going to be the Spokey Blokes. We have found the rest of the splits for these MOCHAs, so let's go ahead and see how things are playing out.
Perfect. Let me jump on top of that. The Black Rhinos here are flying a 31.08. Never underestimate the speed of a rhino or a hippo for that matter. They're much quicker than you would think, and they're proving it out here today. TFC Hurricane slotting in at second right now. Again, this is at the 20K check. They're nicely spaced out here today. So at 20K, that 31.08, the fast time, 32.37 is going to be second quickest. Nebula from Z Sun R right in front of Ceres there at 32.49, and then it's just 3 seconds back. So Z Sun R is having an inter-team battle. Now the Sumatran Rhinos at 33.06, just 10 seconds back then to the Delimited Diesels from Team CLS. Team Type 1, the A1Cs at a 33.18. That's super close. So about 3 minutes from tip to tail here at that split from the Black Rhinos down to Valhalla Dragvandil. We got a long way to go. They're just coming up on the halfway point when we take that time check there. Time check 2. Time check 3 coming up at 30K to go to finish today at 42.8 kilometers. This is going to be Z-Sun.
Which is this Nebulas or Ceres, I wonder? We'll have to take a look over at Zwift Power to get an idea.
Using my first clues, yep. So, it is interesting. So, Heather Johnson is on the Ceres edition. So, this is the Sun Ceres that we're looking at.
Look at Dave. He's figured it all out now at this point. Oh, my goodness.
At Dave go.
Dave's taking the next level now. Figured it out real quick. Heather Johnson smashing it, looks like, here. Now it looks like she just got done taking her pole because here now on the back.
Tricky moment, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it looks like this is right here. Look at what's happening with Morahan and then Johnson. That little fight they had there for a moment as to who was going to grab the wheel and how. That's that new pack dynamic working, can work against you sometimes, just a little bit, because if you're going over what the other rider is that's next to you, that you're trying to draft on, you're going over their watts per kilogram, and you start to slide by them a little bit because of that, it actually will try and bump them off the wheel that rider's trying to hold on to. So what happens is you start fighting for the wheel in front of you, and then both of you lose the front wheel, and the pack starts riding away. So that little bit of that finesse is to being right where you need to be. And you see how BJ there went off to the right there for a moment, and it looks like BJ disappeared. Well,
he's gone.
Said goodbye. Yep. See you later. But now as we see Tucker here now on the front. But see now Morin's now trying to slip in, and now BJ is back on the front. Looks like he had to drop out for just a moment. Good to see.
Yeah, Nathan, it's interesting because that dynamic that you're talking about, people are loving when in the road racing, right? When we're doing points or scratch racing out there, that dynamic has been great. But here for the team time trial, it's not what you're looking for exactly. So it's always a matter of making adjustments on the fly out here. And this has been when was that implemented? It's not even 2 weeks ago, is it?
I'd say, we're about close to maybe 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago at this point. We had an initial, it seemed like, rendition of the new AI that they were calling, or pack dynamic. And then I think there was a patch to it. I haven't got confirmation about that. I actually can keep asking some questions, but I think there was a little bit of a patch. It got smoothed out in my opinion, or we just got used to it. Maybe the next week I just was more used to it, but it definitely is a lot. There's a lot more of a lock on, it seems like, to the rider that you're trying to draft. But it also, when you're not and you push by them, it definitely, boom, you're out of that draft, and you better go grab that new wheel, or you're just hanging out in no man's land off on the side. And as you see, and then when you fight for that wheel in front of you, especially during the TTT. It becomes really, really obvious that you need to hold your wheel and trust the wheel that's in front of you. It used to be that you just blob because all the avatars would kind of mesh together and you could ride through avatars, whereas now you can't as much. There isn't this going through avatars anymore. You simply have to find your position like in real life and use that position well, or move up or move back. That's just how it works. And I love how it works a lot more like in real life racing in that respect now.
Agreed. One of the cool things about MOCHA, Nathan, is how many mixed teams we have in this group. I love that. That's extremely cool to see. And Z-Sun is a great example of that. Both Nebula and Ceres are pretty equal mix of men and women out here.
Yeah, this is one of the categories where you do get that crossover, which is absolutely awesome to see. I love to see the mixed teams smashing way out here. So now it's going to be Josh N. and then H. Johnson, Morahan, and then it looks like Kozak on the back here. We're going to move our way through, and it looks like this is going to be Team CLS. S, they're currently holding down with the Diesels at a 33.16. All very close, it looks like, between the second to fourth place or so. That's a battle between Hurricane, Z-Sun, and Sarah's. And then it's going to be RR Sumatra Rhinos battling it out, it seems, with this Team CLS and Team Type 1. A little ways off the back of those times, Crouching Snowgeese and Valhalla, Drug Vandal. That's a 1 second battle for 8th and 9th place right now.
Wow.
Those are the teams we looked at first. I was wondering earlier if
those battles.
Go ahead,
Nathan. Yeah, those battles. Sometimes if you just show up and look at that result, you're like, oh, that's close. Well, those teams have probably been close for many weeks, right? So they love the very close competition that they have. It doesn't matter for everybody if you're racing for the win. Sometimes you're racing to beat your friend. You know, that there's that joke about you don't have to be faster than the bear. You just have to be faster than your friend. That's kind of where we're at right now. And I love that spirit of racing. We're not all going to be 3-time Olympic gold medalist Kristen Armstrong, but we all should still look to find that competitive spirit inside of ourselves. And this is Team CLS that is clearly doing that. No one beats the Welsh. And this is going to be Brian Culford on the team. Then English rider Danny Preston, American Ed Santon. I don't think there's a more British name than Neville. You don't hear that name in the U.S. that much, but certainly cool name, Neville Spudge, Pat Crook, Scott Boyd, and Steve Culliford, who I mentioned a little bit earlier. Brian and Steve must be brothers, but I think every time I've said that, we find out they're father and son or something like that, Nathan. So, but we do have the Cullifords in the mix here.
I think Pat is a cat lover, as there's a cat, as there's definitely a cat for Pat's profile picture over on Zwift Power. I want to give a shout out to Danny Preston, level 14 Zwifter, so I think a newer Zwift. Well, interesting enough, though, looking through, he may be a new Zwifter, but this guy has been doing events from the day that he got in. I mean, it was like right on into the deep end. Crit City Racing almost every day in January, from what I can see here, and has been jumping into the Zwift Racing League now. Didn't do the first 2 seasons, but now is in with us for season 3. It looks like Danny Preston is definitely gotten bit by the Zwift bug here. 167 beats per minute, level 14, and going up quickly with 38 races under his belt. Wow. So absolutely awesome to see from this rider.
You're going to find people who find Zwift who have, limited to almost zero in real life cycling experience, aka Kristen Kolchinski, right? But you find other people who are really experienced road riders who have been reluctant on getting on Zwift, but when they do, man, they go guns a-blazing. That sounds like what we've got there. I love it. I really
absolutely
do.
Great from Team CLS here, as you said. So the Brian Culliford, I want to see if we can get some help in chat. I have a feeling Brian and Steve might be a father and son situation, but they're doing great. Level 35 from Steve, and then for Brian, going to be a level 31. What if they do a lot of events today? A lot of events together would be interesting to see as well. But both very involved in the Zwift Racing League. It looks like with Brian, and I believe Steve, I've seen him in the Zwift Racing League as well. I remember commentating on both of these riders in the past. So great to see them out here for Team CLS doing a great job. And they are having a solid time at that 33.16, trying to beat one of your favorite teams. It's going to be Team Type 1. Team Type 1 came in as the fastest. Well, Fleetwood there's another. But Team Type 1 came in with the as the top seeded team actually this week.
So Team Type 1, the A1Cs, which if I don't know, Nathan, do you know what an A1C is? I'm curious. I think
we have been told, and we're going to get scolded.
So it's
for
your
this
blood
one.
sugar. It's your blood sugar level, basically.
Gotcha.
You're looking for a low number there. And for anybody who's diabetic, obviously, that's the battle that you're in, is just keeping that blood sugar, well, high or low, right? It can kind of go both ways. But that number means a lot. And I love what this team is all about. Now, you're going to see that some of these riders are type 1 diabetics, some of them are friends and supporters, but either way, they're on a mission. Basically, it's as simple as take responsibility in your own life and you will be stoked. If you eat right, exercise, everything changes. And it's that old how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You have to start somewhere, but at some point, stop. I encourage a lot of you out there to stop for a moment, think what you've been through over the last year. And if you've been able to stay with this in WTRL and keep getting together with your team, I have to think it's been great for your mental health and your physical health. And you've probably, most of you have been great examples for the people around you as well. So keep it up, folks. It's been really, really impressive to see what we are doing out here. Now, this team is pressing hard enough, Nathan, that some of the riders are struggling just a little bit. Again, this is team type 1 that we're looking at here. Some splits coming in, though. Zwift Ceres has got the fastest time right now. So as Nathan alluded to, the fastest teams start last based on their ride last week on a different course, albeit. But usually that translates into the last teams coming through are putting the fastest times up on the board. But that's not always the case. 49.10 from Zwift Ceres. It's Cryogen, the Snow Geese, who we are enjoying racing along with earlier. They are sitting at 50.40, second fastest time. And then Dragvandil, the Valhalla team, a 50.46. So they're only 2 seconds out of the time being posted by the Snow Geese, who are flying. See what I did there?
Jumping in with Matt Puritan, he just got done taking his poll here for Team Type 1. And that explanation on the A1C was great. We did see Massey Co. come on and also saying that the measure of your blood sugar over 3-month period. So really appreciate Team Type 1. They've been a great, part of the community for the cause that they are promoting, their battle with type 1 diabetes. So it's absolutely great. And whenever we feature this team, there's always a ton of people in the community who are really behind it. And I think Zwift has become a huge part of their daily life in a lot of ways. Right in your home, able to burn some sugars, get your balance and get your workout in. And I think exercise, I don't have any experience with this, so I'm speaking out of turn maybe, but I would assume.
Hey, good. I'm glad you don't. It's like cancer, right? I don't.
Well, but at the point being, though, that, I think it seems to me from what I'm picking up is that the reality of having this platform with people, this community, this group of people who have a similar struggle in life, and they're able to battle that together from their homes on the bike in this virtual community with the representation and the branding there and being on that team together at the similar cause, because I would assume, and my grandma does have, she manages it, though, does have diabetes. She doesn't take anything for it, but she manages it herself. So it is close to kind of home, but not really. I've never been a part of that, understanding it very much from her. But I know that she goes and she specifically uses workouts to manage that and measures her blood sugar all the time. And I would think that this kind of brings them together through this in their homes. You know what I mean? You don't get 100%. Closer to home than in your home. You know what I mean? So no. Pretty awesome.
I agree. So there's the camaraderie, the motivation, and the accountability that you have being on a team like this. It goes a lot more than just WTRL as far as how they connect out there. But you're 100% right. And a huge part of this situation that we're in. So if you're a type 1 diabetic, that was genetic. There was nothing that you did wrong. Unfortunately, that was the hand that you were dealt. Type 2 diabetes is much more lifestyle based. And, America, for an example, America obviously is not the entire world, but I think that where we are, we've seen a problem with obesity and childhood obesity. There's been a lot of factors at play. But one of the things that's changing and swinging the tide back in our favor is apps like this, get people out exercising, thinking about what you eat. It's all part of the process. It really is. So again, just encouraging everybody to keep the faith, keep working hard, and motivating each other, no doubt. I was just thinking about Caroline Williams. Nathan, about someone who's taken that responsibility, right? One of the top riders in the world, a mom, a full-time mom for 2 young kids. But if you noticed, one thing's for sure, she doesn't miss a day on Zwift.
No, she doesn't. She's absolutely hammering out there every single day. Now, I want to jump in with, and she's actually putting together an event later in May. We'll mention that
We're
as we
going to
get
talk about
closer.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll hold off on that until we have more
sure.
details and closer to the event. I want to really be able to make an announcement around that. But looking through here, the Rhinos, as the 2 teams, I believe, with the Rhinos, it's going to be the Sumatrans as well as the Black Rhinos. They are hammering away out here today. Looking at the times as they're being chased by little velociraptors, it looks like.
Wow.
46:27 from.
A good day for the Black Rhinos. This is really solid. They're such an awesome team. And Nathan, looks like they've got this one right where they want it with about 13K to go at that check, but they're well past that now.
Yeah, and this is going to be Poirier right now. Stefan Poirier, solid ride. Level 50, obviously with the Tron bike. So going to be one of the most experienced Zwifters out on this team. 464 races from Poirier on
Excuse
the Black
me?
Rhinos. Yeah, 400. I have 10 pages of Zwift results right here
Incredible.
from Stefan Poirier. This is one of the most
I
committed
tip my
Zwifters
cap
I have
to
ever. I mean, this I would feel like I'm on an A category Premier Division rider right now, with the
Yeah.
number of races this rider has done. Absolutely awesome to see. We're looking all the way back to 2019, in January of 2019, actually.
It's not that
for
long
this rider.
ago. That's almost a race every other day for that entire. That is a race every other day for that entire duration. That's incredible. You know, there's a saying that you don't really hear anymore because things have changed so much. There used to be so much racing in the United States and Europe that riders would race their way into shape. You don't do that anymore. You really need to show up at events fit. And sounds like that's what we've got there. Holy cow.
Oh, you're amazing. Really amazing to see. He's got a battle on his hands, though, with the Hurricanes. But they're walking away from the Hurricanes, it looks like, this week. This team is catching their Rhinos sister team, it looks like, which is going to be the Sumatran Rhinos at 40.
We've got a rhino on rhino situation here. Right?
I'm just going to leave that one alone there, Dave. And I'm going to jump back on in with the...
so this is going to be the Black Rhinos well, that's a Z-Sun rider that came out of his team earlier. But this is going to be the Sumatrans right now as the Black Rhinos go by. So all part of the Rhino family. So this should be
I like
cordial.
that they all have the blue and black color kit here, too. That's pretty cool to see. I'm liking how they're very much... organized on that.
Can you imagine how terrifying it would be to be in the savannah and seeing 2
gigantic packs of rhinos
2 rhinos
flying
fighting?
down at you?
Adult,
Flying down
grown
at you.
bull rhinos fighting? No,
Oh,
thank you.
man.
That would be awful.
Looks like Team Rave
Hopefully
getting a little bit of separation here over the top in the Viennas. They are just finishing up their first climb. Good to see. Whenever Rave does come on, we'll just make sure that we get the dance party going. But good to see them flying. And it's going to be Murphy over the top. There's 1 second gap here now. Anderson off looks like on the chase, though, with Scotland. This is the battle here. MC. Is that going to be MCC or MGCC? MGCC, excuse me. Looking to chase them down. The Scottish. This is an all Scottish team trying to bring the Rave back.
I feel like I'm in Edinburgh. All right. Down in a basement rave club. So this is going to be Anderson that we're jumping. Yeah, it's cool to see that Scottish flag. Braveheart.
See if we can get some splits in here for the Vienna MOCHAs as they are making their way around course. And it does look like we do have a couple of the times starting to pop in. It is going to be Fearsome Two Guys, Sonhos, and then Angular Momentum, Rave C, and Live by Cycling Gold. That is your team. Wow, this is close racing at the 10K mark. Look at that. It's all within 40 seconds on this course right now. But I think that's also the reality of how flat it is up front. I think the climb may separate those times up a little bit.
Agreed. As we take a look there, Fearsome at a 16:06. That's going to be tight with only 5 seconds separating them from Two Guys. Angular Momentum in at a 16:19. All right. Good job, Rave. They're right there with a 16:26 and a 16:46 for Live by Cycling Gold. That's a fun story as well, the Live by Cycling Gold team. As we're starting to see these groups of women that have really, really found their rhythm. They formed a team, and then next thing you know, they've got a waiting list for riders who want to race with them, and then that turns into a second team, Nathan, and then we're off to the races at that point.
Then you've got a brand. Then it's just taken.
Then you got a brand. Exactly.
Then you got a brand. I am seeing this is going to be, I believe, Glasgow Try is what we're looking at here for the team. And Kristen Cooley, level 14 Zwifter, a little bit newer to the platform. She did jump on for the Zwift Racing League, it looks like, specifically on Season 2. And has jumped into Season 3, it looks like, this past week in the women's side of things, racing in the C category. So good to see. Definitely a triathlete. Kirsten Cluley here. This is 165 beats per minute, looking to hang on. Is going to have a little bit lower level equipment in game. That's why you see the wheel choice out there today as well. One of the earlier pickups that you can get is that Trek. So still got a pretty good setup, but not the fastest out there. I am seeing as well Jay McConville. Let me see if I can figure out where Jay McConville is at on this, as I have a feeling she's also a newer pickup because of the equipment that she is on.
It's always a really good indicator, to tell you the truth, of where you're at, because not everybody, but most folks are pretty excited to get their first couple million drops and start investing in some new equipment.
Yeah, interesting enough, I'm not sure that McConville's registered over on ZP, from what I can see. See if we can find her. Maybe under a different name. But Fiona Nicholson is also on this team.
Which pen is this group racing out of, Nathan?
The B pen. The B pen.
There we go. Thank you.
Pen. Yeah, Fiona Nicholson, Glasgow Trine Avon, also level 16. So a lot of these riders on this team also just getting in this year. I'm seeing January 7th was the first race coming on in Zone 9. Everything that this rider has done, Fiona, has been WTRL. Literally every event. She's not done any other event on Zwift, according to Zwift Power.
I'm not that surprised, to tell you the truth. I could see how you'd identify with this in your team and not venture out. I mean, this is your Thursday.
If there's one thing I'm doing every week, it is the TTT, as far as how much fun it is. I mean, at the end of the night, I do the Zone 14, and I'm just like, it's a highlight. It's a huge highlight of my week, getting together with the guys, and just smashing ourselves, working together as best we can. The team aspect of this, I don't think people, unless you experience it,
I hear you.
If you're not used to Zwift, though, if you're not used to Zwift, you might feel like it's just a mess and you have no idea what's going on. But once you actually see that there is control and finesse and tactic and strategy in and amongst it, and that there's this way that everybody's working together, I mean, it's pretty amazing experience. And so I think Fiona has gotten bitten by that bug coming out of Zone 9, and now Platinum League. It looks like they started qualifying Platinum pretty quickly with her on the team back on January 14th. They've taken down, it looks like, from what I'm counting here, about 8 Platinums. This might be their ninth Platinum edition for this Glasgow Try.
That's really impressive. Nathan, I am looking and confirming here. We have a rider in this race who is over 70 years old, 70 years old, level 44 Zwifter, Wendy Skeen riding on the Live by Cycling Gold team. This is really, really special. This Live by Cycling Gold team. Wendy, Arlene, Becky, Catherine, Elaine, Kate. Some of them are super young, actually. They're in their 50s, but a few of them are in their 60s. Arlene Salcedo, Becky Padilla, Catherine Adams is in the 50-plus group, but Elaine Montoya, there's a name that should ring a bell for us. I know Martin has specifically thanked Elaine for chipping in, helping out, and I believe that the stingers that we start each show with, wasn't it Elaine that created those? If I'm wrong, I apologize.
Big thank you to Elaine. No, those stingers at the start of the show, the openers, the new ones, they are definitely bringing the heart rate up at the time. That is Elaine's work. And a big shout out. This is going to be Wendy that we're jumping in with. 76 from what I'm seeing in the name. I'm not incorrect there.
So, and I mean, can you imagine if this was your, in your family, how proud you would be of Wendy? She's making over 2 watts per kilo. This is a monster grandma.
Wendy Skeen, 77. She's got it looks like an FTP.
She's my rider of the day.
9 watts per kilogram. This is awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Absolute beast.
I mean,
I don't want to leave anyone out.
Are you going to keep up, Dave, with Wendy?
No, I don't want any part of this. I want nothing to do with Wendy's team.
I think she's got a national championship jersey on.
Multiple. Yeah. And I will be paying. So she's an American. I'll pay super close attention the next time at a nationals Masters Nats to be looking for her and go up and, if it's appropriate, shake her hand because I'm a fan. I wanted to mention Kate. Kate goes by Kate Basecamp. She's also on this team with Maria Shannon, Pam Morris, and Susie Lamouette. That's a great group of women that we're looking at right now. Keep it up, ladies. You are inspiring me, and I'm sure a lot of other folks.
Catherine flying to the front here. And that's kind of their theme. They are doing some cool posters every week. I'm loving they have a different little character or avatar in the posters. I think there were some chipmunks one week. I mean, maybe it's very cool posters that they're putting out in order to celebrate the reality. And one of the wasn't there. Maybe I'm confusing this with another, but they had like a tagline: "Faster after 50," something along those lines too.
Yep. So Nathan, you are going to love Wendy Skeen. She's a mountain biker at heart. I'm looking at a picture of her doing the Breck Epic, which is in Breckenridge, Colorado. So Breckenridge, Colorado.
She's a stronger athlete than I am mentally. I mean,
She's
I like 2 hours. I'll go 2 hours, everything you got. That's like one of the hardest events in the world. I mean, amazing that she's competing at that level.
It really is. So thank you so much, Nathan, for jumping in with Live by Cycling Gold today. That made my day for sure. But Z-Sun Quasars are the dream crushers out there, fastest time right now.
We'll jump back in with them in just a second. I just want to get the finish of the mixed though for the MOCHAs. We definitely don't want to count them out. So as they get through toward the finish and we start seeing some of the times start to come in, we are back in with the Rhinos. Let's start seeing where the splits are at before we get to the finish line for this MOCHA mixed category. It was the Black Rhinos that we're looking at right now at a 46.28, walking away with this one so far. Z-Sun Nebula, TFC Hurricane, and then Team Type 1A, 1Cs. Very tight racing, though, between 2nd and 5th place. The Black Rhinos might be an upgrade at that having a 2-minute gap at this point. There may be.
They're on the threshold.
They might be on the threshold. I mean, if they're consistently around that 3 watt per kilogram on the front, that doesn't seem out of control. We'll have to wait and see. They obviously have Stefan Poirier in here, who's, the guy's got 400, almost 500 races, so he may be the engine of this, especially on this course, man. I mean, they're flying here, but that's a tight race, though. 2nd through 5th, I mean, it's anybody's game for a podium, it looks like.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. And if you want to find that extra couple percentage points in effort, This is how you do it. This is why so many people love the WTRL. It brings out your very, very best. A lot of these riders look down at a massive pool of sweat underneath them. When you could have every fan in the world, every Wahoo headwind turned right on you, and you are still going to be a human furnace at this point. They're not that far from the finish. This is really when you start to, this is the business end, starting to split up a little bit. I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but at this point, everybody's just, oh, I'm sorry, they're actually catching a rider from another team, so they're going to go right by there. But everybody should start basically sprinting with everything you have left here pretty quickly. It's nice if you can do it as a unit. They're starting to weld this back together. But here we go. They're at just a little over 1K until the suffering is over. Man, are they digging deep out here.
Yeah, this
TFC
Andy
Thor.
Beveridge. This is a name I've been commentating on for a long time. Now, TFC Thor. I wonder if that's from the... I have a feeling that tag, because I don't think there's another TFC team here in this MOCHAs. So I have a feeling that specific tag is from the ZRL this past. Because you don't really... In the TTT now, there's a new sign-on they're using, and the tags don't matter. So a lot of times they're not changing them. They're just they're just leaving them alone at this point.
Right.
But, Bradley, I am Andy B there as well. Andy Baines, this is a very long time athlete that I've been commentating on for a while as well. Level 33, he's got 149 races under his belt. Andy Beveridge, though, level 49 racer, Zwifting since 2016 January. Definitely know this name amongst TFC. He's been a powerhouse of this team for quite a long time. Part of a lot of the groups out there. Cycling since 1979. He's done triathlon, mountain biking, sportives, part-time admin, obviously, for Team TFC, as he's been around for so long. Kirsten now also coming to the front here, as you can see, out of the Netherlands. So this team, though, there's so much history with the Friday Criterium. One of the first teams that were focused on C and D racing. They did do a Friday Criterium on Zwift for quite a long time. Great organizers now of the Monday Madness, too. So back to Z-Sun Nebula, though.
Done and dusted there.
They may have pulled that off there. They were only 1 second behind this team, Nebula, Dave. And is that a minute to the line? I don't know.
Yeah, probably pretty close here. So this, again, looking for that fourth rider who's just off screen behind us, I believe. But I think you're right, Nathan. Looks like TFC. There we are. 4 riders now. So this is going to be close.
This is really close here as we're looking through the riders now. This is going to be Sequoias.
Just a couple hundred meters more.
Yep.
You'll see
Nebula,
the finish is just around the right.
Helen. And that's going to be the last one. I have a feeling they did it. I think TFC were able to pull
that was
this
less
one
than
off
a minute.
Under Nebula.
Yeah.
You think that was less than a minute? We'll have to see.
I do. We'll see if I'm right or not. I might be in a time warp.
Time warping. Team Type 1.
Yeah.
Team Type 1. See what they can pull off here as A1Cs. We're at same battle. I mean, there was only 2 seconds between Z-Sun Nebula and A1Cs at the last checkpoint here. So this has been very, very close racing. Smash and Rhinos were also in there as well. They're a little, well, I think Smash and Rhinos, are they still chasing them down?
A little back.
Of course. No, A1Cs, they were the first ones to go out, actually. So, or I mean, last ones to go out. So I think the
Rhinos should have finished.
Rhinos are already across the line. Yep, they're already across the line. So, well, this is going to be our last team to come across the line. Everyone else behind at this point are riders that have been dropped off, sacrificial lambs out there, probably put in their last big suicide efforts and said, go on, team. I've done what I can. 4 riders left of Team Type 1, though.
Yeah, Team Type 1 is loosely related to, or there's a lot of connection points with Novo Nordisk, which is a professional continental team. But I mean, they put 3 Type 1 diabetic riders were in the breakaway at Milano Sanremo this year. It's really, really impressive to what they see all the way from our MOCHA class up to the World Tour. People are really, really getting their acts together out here. These guys now are about half a K from the finish. This is where your legs are just...
We're getting a little bit of Adam Finda loving the comment coming on through. He says, agree, fellas. Team Type 1 has been a lifesaver for him, especially in the COVID world.
Yep.
Thanks for supporting us. Thanks, Adam, for bringing that in. I really appreciate it. And good to see your team out here hammering away in the MOCHAs right now. Going to be Puritan leading them across the line. Howitzer, Weibel, as well as Salmonson.
I'm starting to realize, Nathan, that we have, so there's the collective Zwift community live. There are so many communities within that community that all come together, that have fun together. It just feels great, doesn't it? I think for so many folks, this is a touchstone for your week. Just being around your buddies, even though you're not physically with them, connecting, hearing them over Discord. I'm sure some pretty good inside jokes are told. That these teams all have got their own. Remember cookies, Nathan, a year ago? That joke, right? It's always something with the teams.
Oh yeah, that was a Christy Tracy thing. Christy Tracy says cookies when it's time to go. That was the secret word. Now I just gave it away, but
secret word.
If you're in a race with her, she's been out on podiums already this year, and you hear the word cookies, you know that it's orange numbers coming, even though you can't see orange. You might start seeing orange in real life, but it isn't anything to do with your watts per kilogram when she says cookies. But heading back over to the women's specific here with the Vienna MOCHA. Now we're back in with Wendy, the mountain biker who has done the break epic. Multi-time national masters champion. Absolutely awesome to see here. Becky, as well as Kate, Lane, Arlen, Pam, and Catherine. Catherine's been really punchy today, from what I can tell. Maria's in here as well at the front. So, amazing team. We'll start jumping around, start getting our splits coming in here. We've got about a little under a lap to go for most of our riders. Live by Cycling, they were one of the first ones to go out, but we do have some splits here. It's very close racing, actually, all within about a minute and a half amongst these ladies.
We've been talking about dinosaurs a lot today, so it's certainly appropriate that the WTRL Drafting Dinos UK1 edition are fastest right now. Well, actually, let me take that back. They're tied as the fastest team. This is going to be a Donnybrook, folks. Oh, boy. Our friends from Rave C Euro have put a very fast time up on the table here. It's 33:27 at 20K, that benchmark time. It's only 33:34 to go back to pick up the Glasgow Tri-Avon team. Angular Momentum hanging right in there. 33:45 is their time. 34:04 for our friends that we were just in with. I see we're now with Rave C Euro, who are one of the fastest teams out there today. But Live by Cycling Gold, more than holding their own. 34:04 the time for them right now. Evo Swift's in with the sixth fastest time, 34:27, and then two guys, Sonhos, 35:08 their time, but 33:27. That's flying out here right now. So, boy, they look good too, don't they, Nathan? Talking about Rave C Euro right now, keeping it tight.
They do look good. The way that they're taking their polls is actually really interesting. It's definitely got a little bit of a blob. I've seen this tactic before, not a straight line, but everybody. So the straight line ends up being more toward the front, and there's probably when you see this kind of formation, from what I've seen with this formation, it usually means that you've got 3 or 4 riders who are very strong in the day, and a couple of riders who will take polls once in a while.
Right.
And or whoever, or there's a lot of communication going on about who's feeling good at this moment, even, right? Like who's going to take a poll, when, how, and why. And when you have that kind of communication going on, you tend to have this blob in the back of about 3 or 4 riders who are all kind of just waiting, and they're going to take
kind of like the waiting room.
And then whoever's on deck, right? You have first on deck, second on deck, and they're always right where they should be, second or third wheel. But the rest of them are hanging out in this waiting room. Exactly.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you listen to a good director. I'll use our friend Anna Russell as an example. What you'll hear, almost like an air traffic controller lining up planes as they're landing, you'll hear her say, Rider 3, you're coming up next. Rider 5, be ready. You're following 3 now. 4, taking a break. 4, sit back. That kind of thing. And it almost gives me goosebumps when you listen to that precision. Right.
Yeah, and a good DS manages their pack very well. Like they don't,
and they let you know. Right. You like, hey, you're coming up, Nathan, and it's not even Nathan. You're rider 2, 2, you're next. And then okay, good. I know what I'm doing now. There's nothing that you want for your riders less than having them being confused. I look at that in
Exactly.
any
Like, where am
sport.
I supposed to be? And especially when you're hammering like that, like if somebody starts doing something that doesn't look like what you thought they were supposed to be doing, or maybe they are supposed to be doing that, but you didn't think so. And a good DS
Right.
will identify that within the whole pack, even. It's not just about the 2 or 3 first riders. They'll start saying, hey, you're out of order here. You're out of order. Get back into this spot. Get where you're supposed to be. Because you might not even know where you're supposed to be, right? You're identifying that. And you
Exactly.
can't talk. You can't ask questions. We can't have a discourse right now. Like, there's no conversation happening. And the moment the conversation starts happening, the other 3
It's
or
over
4
at that
people,
point.
they're telling everyone to shut up. They're saying, hey, we can't be having this conversation right now. We're just supposed to be hammering clear comms. You need a good general. That's what it comes down to, with good direction about exactly what's supposed to be happening.
100%. And you're working on a need to know only basis, right? There's no other chatter, just the direction that the riders need. As we said, you're next. And the other critical thing to talk about, Nathan, and we haven't witnessed it in today's race, but we see it an awful lot in the WTRL, is when you make a decision about, do we wait for a rider or not? You don't need 6 different people chiming in with their opinion. What you need is one leader who tells you whether you wait or not. And then it's almost like being in the Army. You just follow orders.
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly, because the moment that somebody starts chirping up and talking back, that's when somebody I mean, in the Army, it's life and death, obviously.
That's
But,
when
that's when somebody gets shot.
That's when you're no longer in the Army, when you talk back to your...
When you're talking back, yeah.
Yeah.
Looking through Evo Swifts here, good to see them with a 34:27. They're coming in with a pretty solid time. 6 fastest as we have these times coming in, but we still have the 4 teams to come on through: Kirchmer, Vienna Latte, Z-Sun Quasar, Sox for Watts, Triceratops, and Fearsome. It does look like Kirchmer are having a really good day at that last 10K mark, so I have a feeling they're going to come through with a pretty fast time. But Evo's still out here hammering away. I do want to also bring another comment, and we've been talking about Team Type 1 a lot today, but this was a very thought-out comment, and it was speaking to the exercise part of things. So I definitely want to highlight Mexico as obviously being a part of their life and their family here. Exercise is a huge component to it. It helps us use up sugar. I'm going to go ahead and just bring this comment in. I can't bring in the entire comment. It is very long, but we'll go ahead and just read it out, though, and I'll bring in part of it. But she's, actually, we can bring the whole thing in. Exercise is a huge component to diabetes, type 1 diabetes. It helps use up the sugar for energy. So riding on Zwift really can help you manage your numbers. Not only short term, but also can help long term that day, helping keep things stable. It's so great to have found a community of folks all battling the same battle and family members of those battling it. So as we were speaking about, obviously the connection has been made there through the platform. And as you said, communities within the community. That's what each one of these teams are, that are very tightly knit. And then out here competing against each other. That's the other thing, is that the other team's got to show up if you're going to have a competition, right? They're all working together in a sense to make up what the TTT is, and making each other stronger through it.
Hey, a great example is, it looks like we're picking up another team is parity in the NFL, Nathan, with the money, right? If you only have a few really good teams and the other teams are all struggling, it's no fun for everyone. So we need to make sure that to have great competition, you need a lot of quality teams. Let's take a look at some quality teams right here. Okay, well, more
WTRL,
times coming in.
Looks like. I believe this is going to be drafting dinos, if I'm not incorrect. Hammering away.
So the drafting dinos are tied, right? 33-27 is that time. And then that's, this is the same check that we were looking at before. I'm trying to figure out what team we added here. I don't think we did. Evo Swifts, maybe 34-27, just in front of Tugas Sonhos. But we're going to get some more times here pretty quickly at that 20K checkpoint. And as you can see, this is drafting Dino's UK1, and they are just about to take that third check here. So we are putting teams through 30K, meaning that they'll be down to 13 kilometers of racing pretty quickly here. Great
We are
course.
in
Really
this,
fun day of racing here for week 104, Nathan.
This course is, again, one of my favorites by far. Obviously, if you check out my Zwift profile, it's not all I've been riding lately here. But Katie Massey, level 18 Zwifter, hammering away out here right now,
Nathan.
hanging out on the, oh, excuse me, is this going to be Massey? No, Massey's right ahead of her, excuse me. And coming out of Scotland, actually, from what I can see for the flag. Level 18 Zwifter. She's got 28 races under her belt and is racing in the Zwift Racing League on Tuesdays while doing, it looks like WTRL has been Platinum League for her for quite a while. I'm seeing she was doing WTRL Zone 3 back in February. Recently this year again, and there's so many new Zwifters. So great to see in these categories here as, January 17th, first race, Fearless Beginners Race. Jumped right into the deep end.
Is that right?
It looks like,
wow.
Yeah.
That's really, really impressive. So that's Katie Massey, the Scottish rider that we're looking at here. The rest of the team, Ali Wyatt, Faye Armstrong, the South African, Joe Lloyd, also from the United Kingdom, is Joanne Smith, Malin, the rider out of Sweden, and Sandra Parker. And Venora Mick, we'll call her, MCC.
Nora Mick, MCC, hammering away. Also pretty new Zwifter. She started in on the 7th of January. I'm loving how many new Zwifters are into the WTRL. Very cool to see.
It seems to be 17. The landing pad. I'm starting to realize if you look at people who say, air quotes, race on Zwift, right? There's a lot of different ways to do that. But I have a feeling that WTRL might be bringing more folks than anyone into the platform. Because, can you imagine this, Nathan? You've got a couple of friends, you're on a team, they're interested in what you're doing. They then sign up for Zwift. They find out that they enjoy the experience. Next thing you know, you've got a new Zwifter racing. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. These teams recruit and bring more people into the platform. This is awesome.
Well done on the team here getting by. I think they just passed Live by Cycling, or Live by Cycling catching them. Is it the other way around? No, I think they just went by. That was a good pass. That was a good pass that they made there. So good to see WTRL Drafting Dinos. Solid result here coming from them as they just made that catch because they were the 5th and 6th, and they have a little bit faster time at that last check by 30 seconds. So I think that was just a catch by the Drafting Dinos. Venora MC, good to see you jumping out on here. And then we do have a little bit more experience in the team. A lot of level 30s. I want to do a shout out, though, to Malin, also level 16. Also jumped into the world of racing in early January. So I have a feeling that there may be a recruitment that went on from in real life into the virtual world with those 3 riders, because it's all right around the same time, interesting enough, for these WTRL riders. So I'd have to get some information.
Seems like
Sandra
it.
Parker, level 33. We've also seen Joanne Smith, a level 33 rider, a level 20 then one rider from Joe Lloyd, and Faye Armstrong, the more experienced riders on the team. As we did see the South African Faye on the just a moment ago on the front. She's got 96 races under her belt, also doing ZRL on Tuesdays in the EMEA Division 3 for the women. So it looks like Faye here, strong climber, making her way to the front at about 3.3 watts per kilogram.
We will be updating these times for you as more data will start rolling through. This is always a big day on the Zwift platform, that's for sure, as we take a look at a team that's getting close to 10K to go out there right now. So all of our men have finished. We're in with, right now, this is our Vienna category. WTRL, the team, one of the fastest squads that we've got out here today. They're in a real battle with Rave C Euro. It's a new team to me, Rave C Euro. I'm really glad we got to jump in with the Viennas, but it looks like that's a team to watch. Certainly impressive ride out here today.
That tie there, I really want to see how this plays out because these are the 2 leading teams
I'm
right now.
anxiously waiting. I keep tapping.
Versus the Rave there. and
Keep
the dance
tapping my
party.
screen, hoping it'll update because I'm really. This is going to be so. This is the kind of course now for the last 10K of racing that they have. It's going to be hard to get more to find many seconds out there. Is a decent way to put it. It's going to be super super close.
I'm seeing Heather Martinez saying "Go Dinos." So it does look like we have a little bit of um, cheering squad for the Dino crew out there today. But we are in with Socks for Watts. Always. And did you know Anna had not seen this when we commentated on EMEA because Socks for Watts does not do any APAC racing that I know of. She had never seen this kit before. She said this
Did she love it?
Oh, she was like, I mean, as far as fashion police
Did she
goes,
blow her
was,
mind?
I mean, it did. She was like, this may take the cake. Like, this is it. This is the, and that's a little bit of a pun too. Speaking of cake, we ate the cake, take the cake, because HDR has nothing but cake names. But Sultana here now, hammering away on the front for Socks for Watts, and they currently, this is gonna be the Triceratops, assuming there's a lot of triathletes.
Look at all the ride-ons. That is a well-loved rider right there, Sultana.
There's a lot of ride-ons in that back pocket.
Yeah.
What is going on here? Wow.
Good for her. So that's Vicky Sultana that we're talking about. Vicky Jones is the other Vicky on the squad. Nicola Connor is Millie McCann, Heather O'Mahony, and Gemma Hobson making up this edition of Socks for Watts. I'm a big fan of what James Eastwood and the entire program has done, all the way from WRT to the Triceratops. Again, another one of our communities in the community, but this is a special one.
It definitely is. From the moment that they hit the scene too, Socks for Watts, it was definitely a movement. It does go to show how a well-designed kind of branding campaign can bring on a lot of riders with some energy and a specific kind of energy. And, I'm not using that term as like a business kind of idea, although it does benefit business. There's definitely an energy and a feeling that comes with how you express, a brand out there and the way that, and this is just fun. You can see it. You know what I mean? This is all about having fun, being a little odd, being yourself. You know what I mean? There's that whole
expressing your personality.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's what it seems to be all about. And the way that they hit the scene with WRT was this amalgamation of riders, a bunch of different really high-end teams all coming together as a unicorn. This is something you've never seen in the world before, right? It doesn't, and that was such a great way for them to launch because it was all these community teams that had come together with different colors, all in the same, and they all wore their team kit. That was the thing. Before they had this Socks for Watts kit, they all jumped in with their team kit. So you had Turbo,
two turbos and Hino.
Kiss, Hino. They were all in there with these top riders, and it just kind of like had this awesome landing pad. And now seeing this with the Triceratops here as well, very cool to see and start to learn the stories of these riders in this MOCHA category.
Yeah, it's really one of the greatest all-star teams that esports has ever seen. Actually, that's a good way to put it when you talk about what Socks for Watts is all about at the very high end. And that's the WRT team that we were talking about at the top of the show, who have basically, they have the highest winning percentage of any team by far. And I don't know if there's many comparisons you can make to other, you know what it's comparable to? The UConn Huskies women's basketball team, right? Over the last 20 years, they've lost like 3 games.
You watch a lot of NCAA. Sorry, I'm like so out of the loop. I'm so out of the loop on that, but I'll just agree. Yeah, that one.
Well, yeah.
Did you say 20 years? Did you say 20 years?
Oh yeah. I mean, that might be a slight exaggeration, but it's not that far off. I mean, nobody wins every single time they race.
So WRT 20 years from now, if you want to keep up with the Huskies, you better the Socks for Watts better.
You've only got a couple more
around.
times you can lose, right?
Yeah, exactly. So,
and I mean, is there a harder sport to win in than bike? I mean, if you look at it, basketball, hockey, football, or world football, half of the players when the game is over have won. In cycling, it's one team out of 10, 120 sometimes, or
Yeah,
one
cycling is
rider out of
it is not a
160.
it's a tough
Yeah,
one to get the name out there. That's for sure. It's a tough one to
it's
actually
hard to be
accomplish that, to
successful.
be successful.
Yeah,
Exactly, because it's all. I was
yeah.
thinking about that the other day while doing intervals, and why you work so hard in this sport. It's because if you want to be successful, you want to win. Nobody
It's
really. I mean,
so
people
hard.
kind of, especially at the world tour level, at the top level. I was thinking about the kind of effort that gets put into something like the classics, like that one day, or and you're like, no,
Sure.
everyone is just like the sprint to the line was all that anybody cared about, and it was two guys. That was it. Vanderpool the other day in the run, and getting
So
beat. I mean, that
yeah,
was
I mean,
amazing. It was amazing to see what went down there. But then there's all these other people who did like amazing for 200 whatever miles. You know what I mean? 200K, excuse me, 200K.
who are just a
And
footnote
yeah, they're
in
just
the
a footnote.
story,
It's
right?
nothing. One rider out of hundreds, so it's very different. Cycling is a very, very difficult sport. That's for sure. And sitting there
What I
thinking, I
also
got to
love,
win. If
Nathan.
that's why people work so hard in this sport, though.
Well, yeah, and everybody who's supported you and your sponsors, and you think like if you're winning Flanders, yeah, and I realize that Matthew and Wout and Tom ride cyclocross through the wintertime, but most of those riders begin training for the classics around Thanksgiving time. They'll take their break in, maybe a 3-week break in October, and by November, like on Thanksgiving, and I realize they're not celebrating Thanksgiving in Europe, but by late November, they're back on the bike 5 hours a day, basically. And so
Mm-hmm.
while most of us are enjoying the holidays and Christmas, they aren't. They're not tucking into a big roast beef on Christmas night. There's none of those. Just they live like a monk. Basically, it's a really, really hard life, and being successful. That's why so many people love the sport, because they realize what it takes to be good. And these are athletes doing exactly that right now as we're in with Hobson. This is Socks for Watts, the Triceratops edition. I
KC are
apologize. It doesn't look.
flying. They are absolutely
Yeah,
flying. They were at a 15:27 at the last checkpoint amongst these women here. Kirchmer Cycling here now. I think they are going to shut this down. I have a feeling that they're going to walk away with this one, with the way that they're coming up on the Socks for Watts team, who is also doing fairly well. They were only at 16:01, but they are now being caught, which means that minute has been made up they were actually 2 minutes ahead. So KC
they were
have really
30.
turned on the
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah, well, this is the squad we're looking at right now, and they're nailing
All German
back a
team. Look at
that's having a
this.
great day.
The Germans have been
very
showing
impressive.
up after World Champs. Next thing you know, I saw all these German flags. We saw Beast Mode. Now the KC. I mean, this is interesting to see right here how they are just flying. I'm loving the B kit too as well. The new kit that they have in game after their top team ended up getting a spot in the Premier Division.
Moving
Great
up
job
into
here
Premier,
by Kirchmer. Yeah, and that's what opened this up for them, is this to get this kit in game, and I'm loving the bees here.
Yeah, this is Julia Brems that we're with right now. On her team is Melanie Wandel, Sabine Selfried, Ella Kroll, Heike Moschel, Karina Wildgruber, Britta Krusmal, and Astrid Bontzek. This is a German squad, and this is going to be a dangerous team here. Nathan, I can't imagine a world that they are not going to be winning out here. I can't imagine that they don't. We're looking at about 6K to go. They are still together as an 8-rider unit. The accelerator is down on the floorboard. This is just a team on fire right now.
Yeah, they are really doing an amazing job here, and I feel it's going to be a hard time to beat them. Looking back, though, a little bit here, this is going to be a team to watch out for as well, I think. This can be fearsome, and they're not far behind. And they've got the reality of Sonia Whiteman. We've featured her before, and be on the watch
Two guys
out
riders
here. I mean, this is the couple of two guys riders
interesting
mixed in here. I think that they just got mixed in a little bit for a moment.
Yeah, we've got a cross-pollination happening. This is really hard to pass a team
on the downhill.
Yeah,
it's just the separation will most likely happen the moment.
This is
that
not the rider's
here.
fault. Yeah, there's really nothing you can do until. You get a little bit of uphill to work with to help you separate things there. Got to keep them
So they
separated.
need to get these team members back though here. They have to wait. And that might be the difference between winning and
This is a
losing out here
bummer.
today. Yeah.
Yeah, because you are really caught between a rock and a hard place when half of your team has gone through a squad, but you've got 2 riders back here. That's a tough break. You caught that team at the wrong time. It looks like I think they're sending riders back.
Whiteman's going to pick her. Yeah,
Yep.
Whiteman's going to pick up these riders here. McQueen now toward the front. Looks like Johansson as well.
Good for Whiteman here. This is what a real teammate is all about. So unfortunately, she undercooked it a little bit. So she'll come back. There you go, up out of the saddle now. She'll start flogging herself, and they'll get this thing back together here.
Ooh, the rest of the riders need
their
to pump
best
it up a
minute.
little bit here now. Really need to work in order to get moving. It looks like the other 2 riders that got dropped.
See the
are good
yo-yo effect,
climbers
though?
here.
You've talked about this, Nathan, that yo-yo effect where you get some riders who are surging forward to try to join, others are waiting, and then you go back and forth like a pendulum there for a moment until you can find your homeostasis and everything is just back in line.
Angular momentum are right on their wheel as well. I mean, this is a very interesting situation out here. Z-Sun, I think, they were caught out there today, it looks like. So they're also involved. The Quasars. They were the fastest team from last week. All the fastest teams, they're all right here amongst each other. Kirchner, as we saw, and we saw the Quasars that we're looking at right now. It's going to be Soxerwatch just a little ahead of all of these riders. And then Fearsome, they're all, right at the end of their racing here. Angular Momentum, they were starting right behind that Soxerwatch team as well, as they are in the black and yellow kit. I actually thought for a moment that this was not... I thought this was Kirchner for some reason, because
it's so similar. That's the old
black
Kirchner kit.
Yeah.
They used to use that kit, didn't they, for a long time?
Yeah, they did. With the bumblebee look. So, and then they went ahead.
There's nothing better than when you're on a part of a family in the Zwift world when your top community team gets promoted up into Premier. It's new kit day for everybody.
Almost to the end of our racing out here today. Just a really quick update. We are out on sand and Sequoias. These riders are just finishing up. There's where they're about to finish up right there, actually, where the blue marker just came on through. They're on the back end of the climb. They have done the KOM twice now, and they'll be heading on down the downhill through the rest of Titans Grove. Lots of little undulations into the springs in just a moment here. We'll finish up with our ladies, and we'll get some results up on screen as they start to come on in. So, long day of racing out here today. It's one of the longer courses. Usually we're looking at 30, in the 30s, 20, even, 24 up to maybe 30 kilometers. But today we're looking at a solid 43 kilometers out here today.
Yeah, this is only the second time, Nathan, and I've been with you for a little more than a year on our Thursday broadcast. It's only the second time I remember most of the teams going over 1 hour of racing out here. Usually, 45 minutes is about the average time. Depends, obviously, what level you're racing at, but I'm kind of factoring that all in together. So an hour and let's call it, it's going to be an hour 10-ish out here for some teams. That's a long day of racing.
Yeah, look at the records here. even in Vienna Espresso,
fastest times, right?
58
They're barely
minutes.
under an hour.
Doppio, 53 minutes. Whew. That is a long day in the saddle for full-on over-unders, too.
For sure, Nathan. If you look at it with the Doppios, usually they race for under 40 minutes. It's usually,
last week we did a 35 something. It was
right.
It was crazy fast. We're going to have an extra 20 minutes of racing this week.
That's why I was talking about pacing being so important out here today, because it's a
Bringing
little bit of a different.
Tonight. They just delivered them to my house. I was getting ready for this. You're kind of freaking me out a little bit right now, Dave, about what I'm going to have to suffer with tonight. Oh man.
Yeah, it's this one is no joke. This is what you want, a team like this. You're almost riding in a
This is
peloton.
so organized. This late into the race.
Yeah.
Like
Good
really?
grief.
Wow.
So this
Melanie?
is one heck of a team that we're looking at now. I wish them good luck in the future. They're going to have a lot of fun with this. Look how organized they are. Just across, this is so German, it's not even funny. Right? Everybody seems to read the memo. That's for sure.
It's a great point. It's a great point. Coming in. Just as a heads up, everybody, I'm getting the. I'm going to see if I can get an update here, but some of our splits in our data, it was going really well up front. We're going to see if
It
we can start getting
jammed.
some of it come through. It does look like somebody gave us the raspberry. So, um, Lone Star has shown. Only Lone Star has shown up and given us the raspberry. We're going to see if we can go plaid and sprint right on by it, though, and see if we can speed things up for you. But ludicrous speed for the data. We are hoping for it in just a moment.
I'm going to have to watch Spaceballs now. Between
Wait,
you
you
and
don't
Christina
even know
Grossman
everything
and
I just
Josh.
said? You don't even know
I know it's all
the things?
Spaceballs talk.
Oh, well, how did you?
I
Okay,
know-
when I said the raspberry, you knew that was
Ludicrous speed.
Spaceballs? You knew raspberry?
Spaceballs is like the Big Lebowski in America, where
Okay,
there's
good.
so many
I'm glad
lines
that you
from that
knew
movie.
that the raspberry was, because otherwise I was
Oh,
just
going
talking about
wild.
raspberry jam for no reason.
No, so Nathan has made about 16 different. You know, the other movie that has them is Dumb and Dumber. I witnessed at a U.S. Pro Challenge the entire press conference. TJ Van Garderen and the other riders. It was a group of young Americans. They decided amongst themselves for a joke they would only use quotes from Dumb and Dumber to answer questions. So you heard.
That's one of the best things
and
I've ever heard. That is
it was
seriously
unbelievably funny. It really was. Yeah, talking about getting a bit nippy down there and that kind of thing. So the this team now is going to feel great about this effort. It's been an hour and 5 minutes out here, Nathan, but they have made their mark out here today. It'll be interesting. So this is not going to be a course record today, I don't believe. I think it's going to be close, but coming up a few seconds shy, if my math is correct.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'll have to wait and see, depending on how this is timed, because I'm not sure if that 105 at the top is based. It might that because this
Their
is on
running
our broad.
time.
Well, because if I go back here,
Right.
yeah, it is their running time. So
It
we'll
is
have
their
to wait
running
and
time,
see.
yeah.
I'll have to wait and see how this ends up playing out. But that's a good point. No course record. The course record was it out at a 105?
It was like a 105 and a little bit, and we're obviously past that now. Where is that? 105.06.
No, 108. 108. 105.06 is
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at Vienna
this
Latte.
May be,
Right.
This may be a course record.
Oh,
Live
they're
by
gonna be close.
cycling. We're the ones who said it.
Oh, they're going to
actually.
do it. Oh, very interesting. Well, Live by Cycling free. We have Live by Cycling gold so this though, Nathan, is going to be a new course record. It looks like, if everything can hold solid for them here.
Looks like Wendy just finished, and that's why we lost him for a moment.
Live by
there.
Cycling gold
Live
has
by
finished.
Cycling
right.
gold just finished, and we were on them as one of our riders that we were.
That was
in
Wendy,
with.
who was so
That was
fun.
Wendy
Skiing.
Exactly. So back in with Z-Sun, they're going to help us get back into the race though here. I believe they're just about to finish up here. Yep, they are.
They got 0.8 to go.
Little ways behind the riders we were just looking at with KC as they come to the line. Let's see if we get any updates on our data before. No, we do not. I am hoping that we have results. Let's see what's happening in the background here. If I can get some messaging on through, as now riders are all crossing the line here at this point. So we will go ahead and head on over to our results. We do like to cover all of the categories for the results, as these riders in the category that we were covering out here today, Dave, as they are finishing up, we will jump on in with our men's and mixed results as we wait for the rest of the categories to give us some results in just a moment here. But let's go ahead and see. I'm going to give us a second, though, and just make sure the top time coming through. It does look like we're good to go on the men's side of things. I just want to see if I can get some a message on through from our man Martin at WTRL and make sure that we are good to go. I have a feeling that we are.
Just trying to confirm that we've got the correct results here, as we hate to give them out if that's not the case. There's so much data that has to be processed out here, and I know that the teams love being able to see that the posting of your result out here. Always
Definitely
makes for some good Facebook.
Highlight too tonight is the launching. I'm not sure if registration is still open for this. You can head over to WTRL.racing, But one thing while we do wait that we can highlight that is being launched tonight is going to be the Zwift Running League, Zwift Running League, April 16th. But it does launch tonight because it is worldwide. And since it is worldwide, for me tonight, it is going to be 3 a.m. Los Angeles time for Zone 1.
Oh, sounds good.
As you can see. So you're going to get on that, Dave? You right on that?
Yeah. Yeah, I love to run in the middle of the night.
So Zwift Running League launching tonight. You guys can, if you want to check out those events, make sure to do so. Head on to WTRL.racing for all of the details on that. And I think we are good to go with the results. I am being told. So let's go ahead and head in and take a look at how things went in the Dopios. In the Dopios for the men's/mixed innovation. 53.
Wow. That's got to be a record.
4. Is that no W? Wow, it was so close. I'm just going to show you here real quick. This is how close it was.
Oh,
it was
just a handful of seconds out.
Yeah, 27 was the last one. 27 was the last one. So go ahead with this there,
good old
Dave.
Volendam. Great. Thanks, Nathan. INC Euro Alien, so close. It's a great ride today here. The next 2 times are coming out of Zone 7. There's the Vultures. They'll be back next week. Cryo RDT Vultures with the 54:18. Now, these are our fastest 8 times up till this moment. This could update. A 54:29 puts Canyon Esports in for 3rd. Kirkmeyer Espresso 1 with the 54:59 in at 4th. It's then Vision for 5th. Z-Sun R, the Red Giants in 6th. BVR in 7th. And Ram Raiders. That's your top 8 at this moment for Doppio.
Coming on in for the Espressos. This is going to be your A-level riders around that 5.0 watt per kilogram or a little bit less. Innovation Alien Monsters there, 55.19. It's going to be Cryogen Kestrels with the 55.31. They went out in Zone 1. Solid hold on. Zone 1, not always the strongest, so holding on to a second there is pretty amazing to see. Evo Espresso coming on in with 3rd. 4th place, PSZ Waffles. Jekka's in 5th. With a 56.01. We are DLAX coming on in for 6th. Down in Dirty Viper 7th. Cryogen Gulls in 8th. Dirt Diggler in 9th. And then it's going to be the Vikings Zelpner in 10th.
That's hard to say. Good grief. All right.
I got that one.
Kirkmeyer.
I got that one.
That was really impressive.
I was really proud of myself there. Go ahead.
Feel like you're channeling your inner Norwegian. All right. Kirkmeyer, Frappe 1 with a 57.32. So they're going to take the gold. As of right now, you can see the top 7 teams all racing with us here in Platinum League. Dirt Time Chasers BC, right now they've got the silver medal and the bronze. Well, that's in the hands of Z-Sun R, the Red Dwarfs. Look how close this is, Nathan. Look at this one. So we're talking about basically 0.2 of a second.
Are you serious?
Between first and second.
That's not the closest we've ever seen. It's pretty close, but that is amazing battle. I'm loving those battles. Those are so good.
0.22, so 1/5 of 1 second after 42.8K. 1/5 of 1 second.
On that long of a course? On that long of a course,
insane.
Too. Yeah.
Evo Vortex 1 ends up in 4th as Vikings Fenrir are 5th. Virtue Slow Siddhartha for 6th. C. Scott Kelpies in 7th. And Guard in 8th. Again, in our Frappes, R3R ACDC take 9th. And Cryogen Swifts are the 10 fastest teams at this moment. As you can see, Cryogen racing out of Zone 6 and Guard 4. So that's a bit of a mix there, but our top teams raced in the Platinum League, at least as of now, will go all the way up to Zone 14 later in the day.
In the Lattes, Vikings Valhalla, that is a name we hear often in the Lattes. They are doing an amazing job, and they win by over a minute here. Vikings Muller, their other team, coming on through for 2nd, over a minute back, though. Our Woolly Rhinos, they come on in for 3rd. Nice battle between them and Z-Sun for that podium spot, but Z-Sun end up in 4th. ZRGR TT3, they're coming in for 5th. Two Guys Nada 6th. Team Type 1 Lancets, 4 seconds back from Nada in 7th. Adam Racing Team Carbon in 8th. Eat Dirt 2 in 9th. and TFC Hornet in that two at the end of that always gets me. That like I'm eating. They're like I always think of. So one of my kids loves dirt cake, so it always makes me think of the dirt cake at Kyle's birthdays. I'm loving the And this is one of our features today, the MOCHAs, Dave.
Yeah, it was fun being in with the MOCHAs. I love this group. RR Black Rhinos, they've been on a roll. A 106.42 for the win. And again, this is all Platinum League teams. They certainly earned their place in the league today. Z-Sun R Nebula in the silver spot, team type 1, A1Cs. It's nice to be in with them today. And they are sitting in the bronze position as it stands right now. TFC Hurricane in fourth, team CLS Delimited Diesels sitting in fifth. Our Sumatran Rhinos in sixth, Z-Sun R Ceres in seventh. Then you can see out of zone 7, we had TFC Hawk. We have Gulf out of zone 5 as our 9th fastest time, and TSZ Cannibal. They round out our top 10 fastest times for the MOCHAs.
And it looks like interesting. We're waiting on results for Vienna. From what I'm being told, Viennas are taking a while to load. I'm gonna roll through these and see if we at least have what we had today for, I have a feeling the platinums, they're just I'm being told that they're taking a little while. These are prior to the platinum finishes, I think. Being told that it's all there, though. Interesting enough. Is that all we had then for the racers in Vienna Espresso, Martin? Martin can hear me, so I'm just waiting to see what's happening. With this, as I have a feeling we do not have the correct results up just as of yet. So for next week, we're going to wait on that. I'll go back and let everybody know. Results are just being really slow at the moment for Vienna's is what I'm being told. But Innsbruck, 4 laps on the Innsbruck ring for number 5.
Leg snapper.
Woo! You were talking about the leg snapper a little bit yesterday, Dave. You were out there riding, it sounded like.
Yep. This will be a fun course. It's a challenge. That's a short sector, but it's steep, and it'll be quite a conundrum.
35K, too. That's not a short race.
That's a long day.
Yeah, so good day of racing with the leg snapper in the midst of it. One other thing I want to point out. At the bottom, read that there. ZCL, we will be covering. I think this is a great category to cover next week on the kind of course that it's going to be, because it's going to be fast and furious circuits out there with the leg snapper. Doppio Espresso and Vienna Espresso will be at the top level of the entire league next week.
High end.
Watch out for your invite. We would love to feature those in the Platinum League in them as well. So watch out for your emails. We're bringing some cams. We'll get some features in for you, and we'll let you know if you are going to be featured. Watch out for that email. I'll be watching my email to make sure that I'm getting those on in. We're going to have to point you all over to the WTRL Racing. I know you like to get your screenshots. I know you love it for the promotion of your teams. Apologies, we're not able to bring it in right now. Viennas are acting really, really slow. We've been live for 2 hours at this point, so we're going to go ahead and say WTRL.racing for all of the results. Still all the way out to zone 14 for the night. I'll be streaming tonight. There's plenty of streamers out there streaming their experience of the WTRL TTT. Probably right now, go over to twitch.tv/Zwift for that category. You can very easily find the category over on Twitch. Just search at the top, search Zwift, and you'll be able to find the game. Click on the game for that category, and you will see lots of people streaming Zwift, and you'll be able to see how they're doing their own personal experience of the TTT. It's a different story, isn't it, Dave? Watching how somebody, we watch here and we commentate how well the team is working together, but when you see somebody in the middle of it and how they're finessing, the same way as like when you're watching somebody play an FPS game and you're kind of like, and they even put a lot of the guys who are playing first person shooter. If you don't know what FPS, I'm not talking about how fast your screen refreshes. They put a camera on their mouse and their keyboard to see how they're doing it, like how they're interacting with that avatar. What was you're watching these people interacting with their avatar full gas, and you kind of can see how that effort and that tactic plays out from their personal experience. It's a very different way of getting into the racer focus. We used to do these features on ZCL early on. And then we had like twice a week, we just do racer focus. And a racer would show up, they'd be like, hi, I'm doing this race. and then we just watched them heavy breathe the whole time. So we kind of pulled away from that, but it was a great little thing. We're thinking about bringing it back with commentary. We'll see about that. Might be fun to do, but want to go watch some racer focuses though? If you like those kind of features, head over to Twitch. It's great to see. I'm being told that we got the results. I know for your screenshots, I did say we were going to head down over there. Let me just double check here. But it really, I do like to make sure that everybody is able to get them on in here, Dave. And I'm messing with Dave now because Dave's like, okay, we're good. But we're gonna.
Yeah, let's get them done if we can.
Let's get them done.
No
Here we
problem.
go. We've got them. We got them here. So let's go ahead and bring in the results. We've got the Vienna Espressos. Dave, take it away.
Great place to start then. It was 1 hour and 10 seconds for Socks for Watts Aero Unicorns to put the fastest time up on the board. It's Cryo RDT Renz in with the second fastest. Third fastest time, BRT Atomic Kittens. And you can see that's all out of Platinum League. Then there's the interloper here. It's Kirkmeyer, Vienna, Frappe 1. They were flying today and end up with the fourth fastest time, so they'll be getting an invite, it looks like, next week. And into Platinum, TFC Vixen, fifth fastest time. Sisu Du in with the sixth, and then Live by Cycling Fierce, our seventh team. But Live by Cycling was a nice focus out there today. We got to jump in with a few of their teams, and you can see that this was quite a day of racing for Socks for Watts Aero Unicorns out there. They were almost a minute and a half
to take down
better than the
Priority
next
T
best.
Renz, that's a pretty big deal.
Big day.
The huge deal there. They may. I do. If you are wondering where some of our other top teams, probably also training specifically for the ZRL too, as ZRL Season 3 is a huge focus for them. But in with Vienna Frappe here, BLZR, they take it down with Crush Pod getting chased by Jarvis the Bear. It looks like they sped him up a little bit, only 8 seconds behind. Nice job to Crush Pod. Army Cycling Women, they were a feature a couple weeks ago. Good to see them out there again as they hammered away for third. Socks Rats Odd Socks, followed up by TSZ Semla for fourth and fifth. Angular Power in sixth. Then it's going to be Evo Comets in seventh. WTRL Watts up 2 in eighth. And then it is Glasgow Tri-Ellender in ninth. And Vegan Bees coming in for 10th in the Vienna Frappes.
Let's take a look at the Vienna Lattes here. Crush Pod getting it done. Crush Pod 2 with the fastest time at a 1:07.07, and it was close, 10 seconds faster than Z Scott Alba, who are sitting in second. Then coming out of Zone 8, it was Vikings Eden. So they're our bronze medal team at this moment. How close was this, though? Just a couple seconds back is RWBSH. And our Vienna Lattes, Tuga Z Brisas, finds the fifth fastest time so far on the day. Renegade E in at sixth. WTRL Watts up C in seventh. Angular Velocity in eighth. TFC Blackbirds have the ninth fastest time. And the Greenwich Tritons Ladies. That's your 10th fastest time. They were in the Platinum League. The only team that wasn't in Platinum League were the Vikings coming out of Zone 8. So that's an exceptional ride for them. They'll be part of this elite club next week.
And jumping in with our features, and in the Platinum, wow, the Quasars beat Kirchmer. I was not expecting. I thought Kirchmer had walked away with it, but obviously our fastest team from last week, they were able to hold on this week. They were the last ones across the line as we saw them trying to chase down. It was only a 10-second difference. So Kirchmer, they really put them on the back foot a little bit here, but Quasars again doing it. 1:07.34. Kirchmer Vienna Latte coming on in for second. I want to just double check something here. And Quasars did just set a new course record. Big shout out to them on that there. So huge day for the Quasars. 1:07.34. And with that being a new course record within this Vienna, Kirchmer, no small task for them either. They were only 10 seconds off a world record here for the Viennas. So solid result there for them. Fearsome there coming on in for third. Socks for Watts, Triceratops, TZP Lack. They were in zone 2, so the way to hold on throughout the day so far. We'll see if they can hold on to this top 10 still. WTRL Drafting Dinos UK1 coming on through number 6. The Ravers, who brought the dance party today, Rave C Euro, come in for 7th. Live by Cycling Gold in 8th. And it's going to be England Momentum, followed by AHDR Cupcakes. So a couple of the Platinum League teams getting bumped out today by Zone 1 and Zone 2. great to see the Asia Pacific area time zones getting involved at the top level for the top 10. Again, next week it is Innsbruck. Make sure to jump on in before, I believe it's 8 p.m. UK time next week, and get your registration done. And that is going to be it for us out here today. Dave, lots of fun. This has been a great day of racing out here. Loved featuring the MOCHAs and checking out everything that they're up to. Next week, we're in with the super fast Doppio Espresso and Vienna Espresso team. That's going to be a lot of fun. This weekend on Sunday, we got something special going on, though, Dave.
Yeah, Ride to End Alzheimer's. It's going to be great. Please come join us. We get things kicked off relatively early in the morning, depending on where you are, but we have some really inspirational stories. And, let's be honest, Alzheimer's is really becoming an issue that we're tackling head on, and we need your help. So come ride with. They're already, I saw a note this morning. They've already raised $165,000 that's all going to research. That's really the coolest thing I think about what we're doing. You're not underwriting any office costs or, paying for anything other than getting money to researchers to help solve this major problem we're having. So thanks for bringing that up, Nathan. I really appreciate it. I know you've worked really hard on the project. So it's going to be a great day on Sunday. So look forward to seeing you there. Come join us,
thousands.
Please.
Yeah, from what we're told, over 1,000 people involved in the event at this point. Large ride on Zwift. Make sure to jump into the ride on Zwift. Be a part of that. You can also, I think it's Ride to End ALZ is the. You can search it up. You can find it pretty easily. Get involved there as well if you want to donate. You can be a part of that. You can be a part of a really cool mosaic that's being released as well. Send your pictures in of you riding in order to be a part of the fight against Alzheimer's and clearing this. So yeah, lots of fun on Sunday. Really great event. A lot of inspirational stories. Let's all get a part
You'll
of
feel
that.
great. Yeah, you'll feel great about your karma when you're done with that ride. You're going to meet some interesting people. And Nathan, again, I really appreciate you supporting it. It's been really, really cool. We did an event for them last year that was a success, and actually things have grown significantly using the virtual platform. So cool
The Zwift
stuff.
community's been a huge part of that, it seems like. So we absolutely love how everybody's been getting behind that. So we see you guys on Sunday. That's our next broadcast. Otherwise, ZRL Tuesday, Premier Division, and a full day of broadcast in there. As always, everybody, great job. WTRL.racing for all the results from today. We'll see you over on my Twitch channel and all the Twitch channels for the rest of the day of WTRL. And as always, everybody, right on.